thousands of years before the doom of Valyria, during the Dawn Age that predated written record, legends claim the Fisher Queens ruled a mighty realm in central Essos from a floating palace in the Silver Sea. These rulers were wise and benevolent, often approached by kings and princes seeking their counsel. The last of these fabled queens was said to have birthed the mighty hero named Huzhor Amai, who was the forefather of the Tall Men, founding the Kingdom of Sarnor along the river Sarn and its tributaries, flowing west from the Great Silver Sea, which over time transformed into 3 small lakes. Huzhor Amai was said to wear a great cloak made from the pelt of a king of the hairy men, and took to wife the daughters of great lords and rulers, with a wife from Zokora driving his chariot, while a wife from Semeri crafted his armor. The people of Sarnor had dark skin, with eyes and hair of black, wearing steel and spider silk. Their greatest warriors rode into battle on scythed chariots, often driven by their wives or daughters. These cities were known to have traded with the Valyrian freehold, Yi Ti, Leng, and other Far Eastern powers, while also exploring the Shivering Sea by ship, reaching the Thousand Islands and Mosavi. Yet they were also known to war with other powers, having fought against the Kathi people and involving themselves in the Giscari Wars, as some Sarnori factions allied with the Valyrians, while others allied with the Old Empire. Ruled by a high king from the palace with 1,000 rooms in the city of Sarnath, the kingdom developed into an alliance of city-states, which grew more independent over the years. Eventually, each city came to be ruled by its own monarch, rarely unifying under a traditional high king, to instead compete with each other for territorial control and access to resources. It would be these internal wars and conflicts which ultimately doomed the kingdom, as it left them weak and divided after the fall of the Valyrian freehold. In 114 BC, a terrible disaster struck the Valyrian peninsula, destroying the homeland of the Dragon Lords, who oversaw their larger territory. Following the doom came a century of chaos and war, fought between the remaining powers of Essos, including the mounted warriors of the Dothraki, who united under the powerful war chief Khal Mengo, counseled by his mother, the Witch Queen Doshi. Following Khal Mengo, they went on a brutal campaign west, destroying a number of ancient kingdoms and cultures, including the city-states of Sarnor. The kings of the territory did not fear the Horse Lords, and proved unwilling to unify against them, with some instead taking advantage of the impending threat to ally with the Dothraki in order to defeat and destroy their Sarnori rivals. As a result, they lost a number of cities over the years, including the fabled waterfall city of Sathar, which fell to Khal Mengo's son, Khal Moro, who renamed the area Yali Kamai, meaning wailing children. The Sarnori king of Gornath then married Moro's daughter, allying together to destroy his rivals in the city of Kasath. Years later, Khal Moro was killed and replaced by Khal Horo, and so Moro's daughter murdered her husband the king and became a wife to the new Khal, who sacked and burned the city of Gornath. After falling to the Dothraki, Kasath became known as the Broken Gods, while Gornath was renamed City of Rats. Sometime later, Khal Horo was also killed, and upon his death, the great Dothraki Khalasar splintered into smaller factions as they continued to devastate the area. Salosh, the city of scholars, was next to fall, with their great library burned, its ruins renamed by the Horse Lords as the City of Sickness. The Dothraki next conquered Kaith and Hornoth, before turning their attention to Mardosh, the city of soldiers, which resisted the Dothraki for 6 years. After holding out to the point of starvation, the tall men of the city killed their wives and children before making a final charge through the gates, fighting until the last man. As a result, the ruined remains of the settlement came to be known as the City of the Blood Charge. Finally, after losing so many of their holdings, the Sarnori were prepared to unite under the last High King, Mazer Alexi. Gathering at the Field of Crows, the Dothraki Khals, Haro, Kano, Loso the Lame, and Zako led a combined army of 80,000 horsemen against Sarnori forces made up of 6,000 scythed chariots, with 10,000 armored riders behind them, as well as 10,000 light horsemen and 100,000 spearmen and slingers. Despite the Sarnori advantage in numbers, they overcommitted after a feigned retreat by the warriors of Khal Haro, who died on the battlefield. Too late did the Sarnori realize it was a trap, as the other Khals led their cavalry to surround the enemy, crushing their forces and killing Mazer Alexi, 6 lesser kings, and more than 70 lords and heroes. After their victory, Khal Loso went on to sack the city of Sarnath, seat of Sarnori High Kings, leaving its ruins ruins to be named the City of Worms. Finally, Saris was left as the final Sarnori city to be conquered. However, most of its population fled before the arrival of Kalzego, who burned the area and renamed it the City of Filth. When the Dothraki completed their conquest of the lands of Sarnor, they moved on to attack other areas of central Essos. Eager for more plunder and conquest, the Horse Lords attacked the Kingdom of Ifekevron, where the people of Ib held colonies, the Kathi city-states of the Red Waste, and even attempted to attack the Free Cities, though they were stopped at the Battle of Huzhor and prevented from journeying further west. Yet one small Sarnori settlement did survive the devastation of the Century of Blood, as the port city of Saf was protected from conquest through the support of nearby powers like Ibn and Lorath. It was in this land alone that the Tall Men continued on with less than 20,000 when they once numbered millions. Love audiobooks? Then be sure to check out Audible, where they have the world's largest collection of audiobooks available. Simply sign up through the link in the description box below and get 2 free audiobooks to start out. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Warden of the X, Sir Daeron of House Ashford, Magic, the Shaman, Joey, Lady Phoenician, and Honir, the Dead Raven. If you would like to help CivilizationEx, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like and subscribe, and click on the links to see more.